All right, you want to get fun facts?
Yeah. So, we kind of said, like, all of mine, which was kind of fun.
I did?
Oh, no, we all did.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Through the episode, yeah. So, basically, one thing is that you're probably thinking, oh, if you chop off his head, isn't it dead? No. Its brain is basically a humongous nerve that goes all the way down.
Its worm is split up, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how worms are.
Yeah.
Snakes are kind of like that, too. Snakes have, like, mini brains going down their body. So if you ever cut off a snake's head, it'll still slither.
That's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't. Its main brain is in the head, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's snakes.
Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, you can also, some of the mucus, can be used for underwater breathing for some people.
Okay,
It's like an ingredient for magical potions, which is pretty interesting.
Okay. So on that note, then, I will talk about the aquatic worm. So there is a purple worm that was, as you mentioned, was said to be like related to the purple worm. And
some say it is the purple worm.
Well, that is the case. But for a long time, people thought so. It's called the mottled worm, and people thought it was just in relation to purple worms. It was just its aquatic version. And the reason they didn't realize that it's the exact same species is because the purple worm gets its purple color from its mucus. And so when the purple worm enters the ocean, the water washes the mucus away. And now it doesn't look purple anymore. It looks like brown.
It's like brown or tannish.
Brown or tannish,
kind of
yeah.
like from Dune.
Kind of like from Dune. And so when this thing would pop out of the water, people would be like, that looks a lot like a purple worm, but it's not purple, so it must be something else.
It's a brown worm.
Yeah, but they called it a mottled worm. And so some more fun facts we can get from this whole situation is that purple worms can breathe water just as well as they can breathe air. So there's that. However, something interesting is that the 5th edition didn't include this. And so I wanted to talk briefly about whether that makes sense or not so you can decide. And I think it can be up to you. I think it makes sense either way. So, and I came to this conclusion just looking at worms in the real life. So earthworms, which remind me the most of purple worms because they literally just burrow through the dirt and they do everything purple worms do, basically.
Yeah, except eat people.
People. But they probably would if they could.
Yeah, they would.
But earthworms, when it rains, can drown if they're underground. So that's why when it rains, it's a good time to go get your worms for fishing because they all come to the surface. So earthworms do not breathe water, right? So there's a reason why maybe the purple worm shouldn't because it kind of doesn't make sense.
That would be interesting. It rains a bit. And all of a sudden, purple worms are just exploding from the river. Like, oh!
That actually would be awesome. That'd be an amazing reason to make them not be able to breathe water. It's like it's like, because world building, you always kind of want to tweak things sometimes. And that could be a fun thing to tweak because it's like this society the whole thing about this society is that it hates rain. And if it rains, you're going to die. So they have all these rain preparations. So when they see dark clouds, they get like super prepared because they know purple worms are going to start exploding from everywhere. Yeah. Okay. That is something to do with their water. But I wanted to say if you want to give them the ability to breathe, there are also worms that have the ability to breathe. So that's like tapeworm and flatworms. Like these worms live in the water. So the purple worm, I guess, could be like them.
Tapeworms are gross.
Although I do think purple worms are more similar to earthworms than to tapeworms or flatworms.
Yeah, definitely true.
Yes. Okay. So that's the fun fact about their water. You have another one?
Purple worms can also be found in the elemental plane of Earth, which makes sense. And they love it. That does make sense. They love it there. That's actually where you mostly find them, though, if it's not in the Underdark.
I see. Nice.
Pretty cool. And there can be also more than gargantuan, like double the size of a normal adult purple worm in the plane of Earth.
Wow.
The big ones.
The elemental plane of Earth.
Yeah. Kind of get steroids them up,
Yeah.
Pumps them up.
Get the mama worm.
The mama worm.
Yes. Okay, nice. Okay. So we had mentioned, and it mentions this on the stat block, that they leave these huge passageways in their wake. And what's interesting about this, though, and what my fun fact is that this is actually a big contributor to the Underdark existing. If there wasn't purple worms, then most of the Underdark would just be straight up Earth. There wouldn't be all these big caverns and all these passages and all these places for civilizations and monsters to live and for our adventurers to adventure if it weren't for purple worms creating these tunnels. And purple worms are constantly doing this since their existence. And so over time, they've basically created the Underdark. And that's cool, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have some of the scariest places.
Yeah.
They're only partially responsible, but they are a big reason.
Well, but wouldn't that mean, like, eventually the ground will just collapse on itself?
Well, I think the ground constantly is and isn't. You know what I mean? Like if, let's say, the purple worm digs a lot in one area, those tunnels will probably collapse. You know what I mean? But, the underground is constantly changing. I mean, that's just how the world works, Mm-hmm. That's how, land works, where we are constantly moving down towards the core, but then new Earth comes up, like volcanic events and all that. Earth is always recycling. But I'm just saying all these caverns and stuff that are known as the Underdark.
They get recycled.
Yeah, they get recycled, and they're mostly made thanks to purple worms.
Nice. All
right.
That's pretty good.
Your turn.
Purple worms can actually be not charmed, but magic, as we say again, can influence them greatly to a certain point. Well, this is kind of funny. So there's a certain spell where it makes like an air pocket, right? So some people will make a lair inside a dead or living purple worm.
Yeah, I've seen a chart.
Yeah, so imagine you live in a dead one, or I just imagine you're like a slave in the drow, and a purple worm comes, so you're like, oh my god, and then you just get eaten. This was one of my extra ideas too, but you get eaten, and then a guy kind of wakes you up, and he's like, welcome. We're breaking you out of jail,
so it's like a big RV.
Yeah, it's like a big RV, but no one knows. Yeah, that'd be cool. Because
that sounds like it takes a ton of magic.
Yeah.
To make that livable and look like a giant worm and everything.
Well, no, it is a worm. They just go inside and they make a poof magic. It's a little worm, and then they use the brain, which is the just a cell to control it.
That sounds awesome.
Which I think is an awesome idea. That was one of my main ideas. But you just break out of jail. They're like, "Welcome, we broke you out of jail," and then you're just super confused. You're like, "What?
Where am I?
I thought I died." But yeah, that would be an awesome campaign idea. You're in jail, but purple worm eats you, but you're actually not dead. You're actually in a escapo RV.
Yeah,
that would be sick.
I wonder what kind of magic would be necessary for that, but probably a lot.
Yeah,
very powerful mages there. Okay, nice. That was more of an extra idea, but sure. Okay. Another one I have is, this is the last one. And you had mentioned that they have eyes. And so I just wanted to expand a little bit on what those eyes probably are.
Have them see.
Yeah, have them have eagle eyes. No, but so these are probably vestigial features, which just mean they're features that used to be usable and have evolved to just not be necessary anymore.
They could see at one point.
Kind of like our appendix. And
our tailbone.
But they might be able to see minorly. So perhaps their blind sight could also be you could give them a little bit of vision. And so the vision that if they were to have vision, the vision that they would have based off of real life creatures is just that of light sensitivity. So they might be able to sense movement at the very most, which just might give you more reason to have them target people in combat or something. But you can use these eyes creatively, perhaps, to give them a little more flexibility in how they decide to do things in a combat situation.
Yeah.
So if someone walks next to them, even if they're super quiet, the purple worm might be able to see them. So there's that. Of course, they have blind sight, so they will be able to see them.
I see you.
Yeah. Okay, that was my last fun fact.
There's one interesting thing. People can use their body for research. It's pretty cool. So we talked about armor, shields.
For what?
just tools. Like the purple worm's body. Their blood though, we talk about the blood, but like I want to visualize what the blood really looks like. It's like a bright red, purplish, mucousy blood, but can also be like used for other magical components, like weapons, for like that gives you more immunity.
Okay.
Like so pretty cool stuff. They are also highly poisonous, and each of their parts sells very well, especially the eggs. An egg is like over 1,000 gold or something crazy like that. So,
true.
So if you find a clutch, that's bam.
Yeah, maybe the dwarves would buy eggs.
Or they would sell the eggs.
But what use would anyone have for a purple worm egg?
I don't know, some like evil wizard that's like, ooh, I'm gonna drop all of these things on like some like
maybe
city, like a suspicious buyer. You're like, why do you want these eggs so bad? Oh, I just like the worms as pets,
Yeah, like maybe there's like the purple worm terrorist, and you're trying to capture him, but so you use like purple worm eggs as like a way to lure him out and like see if he comes to try to buy them.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we're officially in extra ideas at this point.
Yep. So
I got extra ideas.
What are some?
Okay, well, you had mentioned the worm riders. I think that was one of my extra ideas, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
And the worm train.
Okay, yeah, so throwing those out, those are pretty simple. This is one of my big ones that I like because I love world building. And so this is a world building idea to make your worlds more immersive. This is kind of what I'm all about sometimes. And basically just have the pheromone coating as an Underdark city job. And so it just kind of makes the city a little more immersive because it feels like it does actually exist in a bigger world. And I think that this job of like pheromone coating could actually be somewhat of a fun side quest for the adventurers, because not only is it dangerous, especially if you're like in a drow city or something, because there's driders on the perimeter, there's probably other creatures on the perimeter of the city. So danger's good, but also there can be very big consequences if they do their job poorly.
Purple worm.
Yeah, the purple worm might come. And so this could just be a fun way to make your world a little more real. Because a city in the Underdark would have this. And by saying that this city has this job, you're also telling them that these giant things exist. And that's just fun to do. Because sometimes you don't want to introduce a monster by just having them encounter it. Sometimes it's fun to introduce things about the world through stories or just through things like what kind of jobs does the city have. So that's my first extra idea.
Yeah, no, that was very good. That's very good. I kind of said a lot about my ideas, but I thought of a good one. Have like little wormlings, little like baby ones that are like this big.
So instead of make them bigger, make them smaller.
Make them smaller. Oh yes. Well, like imagine like
they are like, baby ones when they're babies.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're like worms though. Like hand sized. Just have like a little spiky, little plumpy.
They might be. I don't know if it
plumpy purple worm kind of just sitting there on your arm. He'll probably bite your arm.
Yeah. All right. So your idea is make them tiny.
Well, I have like baby ones.
Well, then they're just worms. There's nothing special about a purple worm except
worms.
That they're huge.
Well, they'll like burrow in you or something.
Worms can't burrow in you.
Or like have like they would of course have their abilities. Or how you torture someone. It's like you just drop a bunch of baby purple worms.
That'd be interesting.
And they just start eating you, and you like start to get tortured. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, so this is another like world building about people that are like maybe always encountering purple worms or in their vicinity, and that's like the folk that are around them use poison of the purple worm on their knives and weapons.
That's insane. That's literally that's so much death. 50 damage knife attack.
Yeah, exactly, and a pretty high DC, and so they could do that. They could put the poison, or they could just straight up have like these special knives, kind of like Dune with Chris knives, but they could be purple worm knives, where they're like the stinger or like the tooth, and they fight with them. But I like this idea because I always find daggers to be underwhelming. It's like someone pulls a knife, and it's like that's 1d4 damage. That
I can punch them.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's practically the same as your fist. So I think this is a way to make like knife fights much more higher stake, because like these aren't just knives. If you get stabbed, they do a ton of damage, which is more accurate to how getting stabbed would be.
I mean, mostly,
obviously this is fantasy, but
mostly in fantasy, if like something flicks you, like we're all commoners. We only have 4 hit points. A adventurer could punch us once, and we're just dead.
Yeah, but you hit your head on the concrete though. Yeah. So anyway, that's my idea. Give some of the folk that are around purple worms a little bit of the purple worm's might by them using their poison.
Yes.
Okay, you got another one?
No. I kind of said most of them.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Sometimes they get sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one you might like, Ethan.
Make them big.
Make them intelligent.
Oh, God. It's like, I know where you
I know, just the thought of an intelligent purple worm is just...
That's horrifying.
Well, it's like, wait, what? It doesn't even make sense.
Why wouldn't it make sense?
Well, it's like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's like purple worms don't look intelligent at all.
Like, awakened purple worm. Like,
yeah,
you start fighting, it's like, stop. You're like, why are you talking?
Yeah. But, now, obviously, this is really odd. You shouldn't just make your purple worms intelligent. Like, don't think I'm telling you to do that. I think that's really weird. It doesn't make any sense. But what I think could make more sense is if you had, like, your big bad or just a bad. And what they're doing is they're attempting to, as you said, awaken maybe a purple worm and kind of use some sort of dark magic to give it intelligence, but not only intelligence, but like
cunning. So
it joins the dark side, Cunning, perhaps. Yeah, and then it just becomes like Indominus Rex.
Purple worm. Or like raptor purple worms.
Right.
It's like, why is this one just like plump and just sitting there in front of us? And then you look to the right and you just see Rocker like, oh, I thought something would happen. And then a purple worm comes.
Or you're like hiding in the kitchen and then it's around and you look at the door and you see the handle like, and then it just opens the door and you're like, they've learned how to open doors. And then it just tears down the house.
Wait, how would it do that, though? Or, like, give it, like, a tongue. Like, it shoots out a tongue, grabs someone, pulls them.
Oh, like a frog variant?
Yeah, like a
frog. Oh, God.
That's literally so genius. Like, give its reach,
why would it have a tongue? But, yeah.
But, like, give its reach, like, 20. It'll just, and then pulls you in and just starts to shred you.
Okay, another idea I just had on this stream of ideas is make a were purple worm, where it's a person who at full moon or whatever turns into like this purple worm.
We're not all like the villagers like burn the werewolf.
Wait, that's literally like the Hulk kind of, because it's just like this destructive force. So it's like, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. But instead of turning into a big green monster, they just turn to a purple worm and destroy the city.
But I just imagine like a normal human size just purple worm just like plopped. Like kill the werewolf. What are you? Just plops just a worm just chilling there.
And then the worm just burrows and it's gone. Okay.
Oh, where'd it go? And then someone just in the back starts screaming. You just see that it just took its legs and just.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just large size purple worms, like young ones. Then you fight those.
Those exist.
Kind of like tremors. Yeah,
that's true.
That's
tremors. That's true.
Infant ones that you fight and kill. It's a low level battle.
Yeah, like teenager purple worms that are that would be better for low level parties. Yeah. They kind of get like there's a hatching that happens, right? Yeah. And then it's like the city gets overrun by all the eggs. As the worms look for their first food.
I just imagine just drought people running for their lives. All you see is just little purple worms. Yeah. Or just like burrowing, just like they just move.
Yeah, like semi quick, like not super
like
fast.
Worms and worms don't move like caterpillars too. So all you see is just like silver. Have you seen silverfish from Minecraft?
Yeah.
Like they just glide on the ground. So I just imagine just a bunch, like hundreds of baby purple worms just gliding on the ground, just slowly coming towards you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was quite a lot. But I think those were good ideas. Just a fun encounter that I think would be cool is if you're in a mine shaft and you're like in a cart, like a mine cart, and then all of a sudden you just start getting chased by a purple worm.
Go! Go!
Yeah. That would be fun. And like the tracks are just getting eaten behind you as you move.
Man, whoever made those tracks are gonna be pissed.
Yeah, probably dwarves. Okay. Another extra idea is you can definitely use the purple worm eggs for countless scenarios. So you could use them as just treasure you need to find. So like if you need to get a purple worm to like make a spell or something, this is in itself a good adventure because like we said, there's a lot of creatures that defend these eggs and are just waiting on things to come and try to take them.
What's it? Do you know what else defends them? Like do driders?
I think driders might. Literally any Underdark monster that preys on things that go into layers, they'll set up shop, next to the eggs.
Very interested that nothing eats the eggs.
I'm sure stuff. Yeah, that's true. Things don't eat the egg. Well, I guess some stuff does, but those things get eaten by the things that are waiting for them. You know what I mean? That's the symbiotic relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if those things got luck, if like the things that eat the eggs got lucky and they were the first ones there, then they just have a feast. But if they weren't lucky, there's probably a bunch of predators waiting for them.
Yeah. Also, if you don't know what the eggs look like, imagine like they're like frog eggs, but like they're very clear. They're squishy. Well, they're also sort of hard too. Like you can't really break it well. But you'll just see a little purple worm just coiled and it'll slowly grow bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what they look like. Pretty cool stuff, yeah. But
all right, so this is my final one. Okay, so.
Make them fly. Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, God. just one just comes out just like.
Yeah.
Horrifying. Air sense. Feels air.
Air. Yeah, it would just be blind. It just flies and then it just goes bam into a mountain.
it just drills in the mountain and goes down. Like it's
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is my final idea, and this is more of a guide. Like I just think it's a good idea. So Dune. Now, I'm a fan of Dune, and Dune is a great place to draw inspiration for these purple worms because the books and the movie now really are very focused on the effect of these worms on a world. Like the whole book, at least the first one, is kind of all about these worms. Now you'd think it's about the thing called spice, but really the spice is created by the worms. So it's about the worms, really. Yeah. And so I think a really great place to draw inspiration for purple worms is Dune. And so I could have given countless more examples from Dune, but I think I can let you guys discover your own. But just my final big one is to make purple worms. If you want to have more worms in your world, like Dune has a lot more. Arrakis, the world of Dune, has a lot more worms than a regular Forgotten Realms place would.
I like my worms.
Yeah, so if you want to have like a Dune style scenario where there's worms kind of all over the place, make them extremely vital and important for the ecology of the world and perhaps the economy. So ecology and economy. So like they may create something that's like spice that is really valuable.
Or they just literally poop out money.
Yeah, they just poop out money.
So who needs to mine when there's a bunch of
exactly, when there's just treasure all over the place.
Yeah.
And make them important for the ecology. So maybe like the dirt that they bring out is the only fertile dirt there is, or I don't know. And something like that.
Yeah.
So just take inspiration from Dune. It's a great place to get inspiration.
Actually, with the fertile stuff, like if there's a farm that's like dying, so if a purple worm goes under it, it would just
it's like dirt that's already have manure mixed in. It's like the perfect fertile dirt.
Have like manure of the purple worm, like mega insane fertilizer.
Yeah.
Like if you put in something like it grows twice as big or something like that,
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, but again, go to Dune. Frank Herbert, the author of Dune, spent I think like 5 years developing the ecology of Dune, of the planet of Arrakis.
That's insane.
Yeah, and he was an ecologist, so he knows what he's doing. He's like a literal ecologist.
It took him 5 years, though?
Yeah.
I mean, all I saw was just worms and some, like, mouth with mega ears.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Sorry, I haven't read the books.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, it's much more complex than what you see on the surface. On the surface, it's a desert, right? But there's a lot more going on underneath than you'd think.
Worms.
So, yeah, I think that's it for purple worms.